What is going on, everybody? It is episode 933 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We're glad to be back after the weekend. We had some unforeseen circumstances on Friday, so we couldn't do the show.
We can't tell you what it is, though.
Yeah, it's a secret.
It's a secret. You guys don't get to know.
I do... Brett, don't try to deny it now, because I know you feel me on this. I do wish sometimes that we could just hop on a live stream and start talking shit.
You can.
Like,
if you want.
I mean, I could, but I don't think you would join me. Like, we would not be syncing together. You would let me sync my own shit.
I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. And then you start talking.
Then I would start talking shit, and then you'd be like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
they were always nice to me. You're so that guy. Like, you're so that they were always nice to me guy.
I mean, they were always
biggest pet peeve about anybody's like saying like that somebody did you wrong, and then the other person is like, I don't know, they were always nice to me.
I mean, that's just me saying I'm a better person. Anyway. Like, clearly, if you were as good as me, they would have been nice to you.
I do sometimes wish that we could just be an e-drama channel, but we have to choose the high road every time.
I actually disagree. So I think the reason why, beyond the fact that those shows do great views, is like you're under the illusion that it's less work, but it's not, because you have to catalog.
If you have to pull the receipts and actually like prove a point, but if you're only in it for the love of shit talking, you don't have to prove anything. So we would be fine. I know plenty.
This shit, dude said this shit.
I heard from so-and-so that so-and-so did this at a party. We have a couple of $20 super chats before we get started. Shane H. Wilder said, happy Monday, Brett and Mary. I dropped the Cast Brew Mary's Ghost Blend ad this morning. 25 hours of work for a short fitting of the Halloween season. I hope y'all enjoy it. It is just the right amount of creepy and funny. We do have that.
Yes,
actually. This would be the appropriate time to plug the coffee, because I finally have an actual bag of the coffee in my hand. We didn't really plan the timing accordingly, but it's here.
It got sent.
I can smell it because they have this like opening in the back. I haven't opened it and tried it yet, but it smells incredible. Just like, it's like a cinnamony chocolate candy bar, graham cracker, marshmallow toast goodness. And it's perfect for the Halloween season. Drinking this around the fire with your friends. Actually, that's the image that we chose for the back of the bag. This nice bonfire image. It's so festive and just the right amount of creepy and not demonic at all.
So Charles sent, so he sent me and Olivia a bag, and then he sent one for you, and then one for the studio. And like they were at the house, and we had to turn the bags over so that you weren't creepily staring at us from the bag.
It's gonna jump out at you. In the middle of the night.
If you're like walking by it in the kitchen, it looks like the bag is turning with you and staring at you.
See, there were some ideas pitched, like what if there were like, gravestones in the background or like something like that. I was like, no, let's just like keep it simple. Little nighttime ambiance in the moonlight with the storm brewing in the background and me staring at you with the darkness.
Well, let's watch the ad here.
Yes.
This is good. Here we go. From Shane H. Wilder. 25 hours worth of work. Here we go.
Congrats on finishing that in time. I'm getting the chills right now.
Yeah. What is going on, everybody? It is episode 930 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I hope you didn't forget me. I am back. You now know that I was in Rome for all of last week.
He's got his Let's Go mug,
that
too.
Was intentional. And as great of a time as I had, I so missed home. And now I'm finally back in the US of A, so you're welcome if this is an especially xenophobic episode.
I was gonna say, you got any like... We won't put that in the official promotional material.
Absolutely not.
Tate's back.
What's up, Patriots? How's everyone doing?
Back in, you were in Arizona last week.
I was in Arizona. It's kind of like the Italy.
This is like kind of meta.
Scary meta. No,
laugh.
that's the most impressive part. Is normally a director has to tell you to like laugh evil, but
That's just how I laugh. That's just my normal laugh. Nice.
Let's go. It will lift your spirits.
And no crisis actors were hurt in the making of this advertisement. Love that.
Okay. Good job, Shane.
Thank you for that advertisement. That was perfect.
Yep.
And yeah, by the way, it's now available on castbrew.com.
I just reposted.
Give it a try. And it smells so good. Like I can't stop smelling it. I think it would go perfect with a cinnamon zin, by the way, if you're if you are of age. If you are of age and if you partake in nicotine pouches, that would be my recommendation. We also have another 20 from Badump Bash. Well, I just got paid today, got me a pocket full of change. Well, thanks for sharing some of it with us.
We do appreciate that. Guys, now that we're back, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel perhaps if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Remember to share the content out with everybody in your life that you both love and hate because, you know, that's the whole point of social media. There's probably people on there on your friends list that you don't even like anymore and you should share it with them too. And remember to also share it with the people in your life that you do like and then argue with them in the comments. So what are we getting into today? Well, Chappell Roan is back in the news. You know, she's up there with me with Zendaya. I'm gonna be a fan no matter what now.
Controversial faves.
Yeah. So Chappell Roan decided to take the stunning and brave approach to her music making recently when she had an F Ice for all the children that might be listening, F Ice Forever. During a concert, which is, of course, so risky, so stunning, so brave. And we're going to talk about that because Chance the Rapper got into that. I didn't even know Chance the Rapper was still around. Yeah. But we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about one battle after another, which is, it's a flop, much like Tron ARES, flop-tastic. And we're going to talk about, the promotion of leftist violence and all that entails. Also, Hayley Williams is back, and Paramore is back with another song that's just an ode to progressivism, I guess. It's called True Believer.
Yeah, it's
an ode to cringiness is what it is.
It's sort of a song about her hometown, Nashville, but everything that she hates about the South and Southerners and how racist they are and how the South is getting gentrified, and it's incredibly cringy. Hayley Williams has completely just lost her mind. It's a shame because she's quite talented, but she's a loon.
All right, we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready, we can just go ahead. You ready?
I think I'm ready.
Let's go for it.
So Tron ARES just had its run in the box office this weekend, earning $14.3 million in its domestic opening day, which is lower than Morbius. This is relevant because Jared Leto's flop, the Morbius flop, is infamous, and now this has somehow broken a new record of flops. And Jared Leto is kind of getting the brunt of the blame for this.
Let me give you the numbers off the cuff for the opening weekend. So what we're looking at here is that it opened to $33.5 million over 4,000 screens. So it opened to a lot of actual theaters, and that was 45 to 55 million was what it was projected to make domestically. It only made $60 million worldwide on a budget of $180 million, not including the marketing for this film. IMAX made up 67% of those sales, which is why people want IMAX screenings for their films. The worst part about this is Legacy opened to 44 million. And that was not adjusted for inflation.
In 2010 dollars, that was like $1 billion.
Basically, yeah.
We have another 20 from Brian Bledsoe here. Where is it?
I got it here. Brian Bledsoe says, critical consensus was spot on. Visually beautiful, score was great, but story was lacking. It says mostly dismissed Tron Legacy, but set up something for a sequel. But the low opening, we won't see it. Maybe in another 15 years. Yeah. So the thing that I think about when I think about it is what it is. It wants to be Avatar, and it's not Avatar.
They thought this would be a reliable franchise for Disney.
Well, I'm saying everybody's looking for that gold mine mind of like a new sci-fi. I think they wanted Ready Player One to possibly be something like that, or even Alita Battle Angel when that came out. And it's very, very hard to create new franchises these days that people actually want to come back to. And like I said, Avatar delivers every time. Say what you want about James Cameron, but for some reason, people just like they get hit with some like brain worm the second they see the trailer and they just get up and walk to the theater.
It's Dubai chocolate, matcha, Labubu, Avatar way of water, all the way. And if only the Avatar franchise didn't take like 10 years in between installments.
Oh, yeah, but that's not now, though. Now we're getting one after it was 2022, and now like 3 years is nothing.
Right, so that's this...
that's in December.
This Christmas
It's Christmas time, yeah.
All right.
And then James Cameron's going to make another $1 billion.
Sent you this meme about Jared Leto. It's the second tweet here.
Oh, is it... Here we go. There we go.
It's Tron in time.
All right. Oh, man.
It's Tron in time.
You know what it is? Is like he's never going to recover after Joker. That's
is that really what's going on here? Because
no,
a lot of people were blaming...
made money. That actually made money. Like, I mean, not a lot of money.
Not because of Jared Leto.
Not because of
but
Jared
a lot
Leto,
of people are blaming Jared Leto single-handedly for sinking the Tron franchise. Here were some of the responses. Disney is going to see this and think audiences hate Tron and Nine Inch Nails instead of the obvious conclusion that audiences hate Jared Leto. Another one said, can we finally realize no one wants to see Jared Leto? Other people also blaming his recent Me Too scandal.
I mean, they worked overtime to make sure that didn't come up in any of the first page press results for anything you looked up for Tron.
Very limited screen time in the trailer for his own movie as well. Yeah. Someone said, like, Jared Leto hasn't had a career failure like this in 17 years. Just look it up.
What?
Jared Leto, 17-year-old.
Like, Morbius was
there was the joke about him being a PDF file. We have another 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. My Disney source says that the marketing spend for Tron was reduced the last 2 weeks and diverted to future release. Internal surveys ended up being an accurate bellwether for the actual box office.
Which means that they were writing it off before it even came about, right? They don't you remember they did that with Snow White? They they reduced the ad spend toward the end because they're like, look, this thing is a freaking lost cause. This is a ship out to sea with no way back.
Yeah.
Best to just, life is for the living, and Tron is not for the living right now.
Aside from Jared Leto facing the blame for this failure, I want to call back to the conversation we were having last week about Tron. And it's something you pointed out. People are not into movies about AI technology.
Nope.
It's just not the big sell that Hollywood seems to think it is. And here's another example of it. This is Mercy.
I saw this and I was
starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson, coming to IMAX screens in January. It's obviously an AI thriller where he's getting interrogated. The future of criminal justice is artificial intelligence, and it says time left 90 minutes.
Look,
guilty 97.5%. It's like AI is guessing the probability of your guilt for a certain crime.
They literally did this in Person of Interest.
90 minutes to prove your innocence or face execution.
So, you know, it's like
super freaking intelligent.
Any of this stuff, it's just you're too close to it at this point. You're too close to it.
Yeah.
Minority Report, when it came out, what was that, 2000? Somebody let me know in the chat when Minority Report came out, like 2011. Any of these movies, like this type of stuff just doesn't, you know what I want to see them try and make again? Do you remember that movie? I never read the comic, but R.I.P.D. with like Ryan Reynolds. There's a whole bunch of I would rather see them try to do RoboCop again and fail than any of these artificial intelligence projects that they're doing. Like literally at that point, I would rather watch, because at least then it's comical.
Well,
this is just sad.
There's a new movie actually getting directed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which was mistakenly reported as an AI movie package. What they meant by it is that it's a movie about AI. It's not an AI generated movie.
And his agent is like, no. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's about AI.
Deadline reported that this Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie is going to Netflix, and it's going to be starring Rachel McAdams. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, in promotion of this movie, I guess, is sounding the alarms about the lack of guardrails on the Meta AI technology. Here's a video of him calling out Mark Zuckerberg's vision for Meta AI.
Hey everyone.
Hey, Mark Zuckerberg.
I want to talk about our new effort, Meta Superintelligence Labs.
Superintelligence. It means an AI that's not only as smart as humans, it's supposedly even smarter. The guy who coined the term superintelligence thought it would probably lead to the extinction of the human race. Mark Zuckerberg thinks it will lead to lots and lots of money.
All of this would ring more true for them if they didn't need rich people to fund all of their movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard for me to buy your hatred of rich people when it requires rich people to make your movies. That's all I'm saying.
Meta, we believe in putting the power of superintelligence in people's hands to direct it towards what they value in their own lives.
Okay, it is true, however, though, that this stuff definitely hit better in, like, the early 2000s before people were... Like, the thing is, like, I'm actually, for the most part, agreeing with what Joseph Gordon-Levitt is saying, which is, like, back in, like, 2005, when Google's like, you'll have the internet at your fingertips, and you can check your email and your phone, and you can connect with anybody across the world. It doesn't matter if do you feel different than everybody else. You can talk to somebody else in the world
who wants to fuck toasters,
who wants to have sex with toasters, just like you. And the thing is, in 2005, that seemed really, really cool. Now, it doesn't seem cool. And all of the bloom is off the rose on all of this. But until these people separate themselves from the rich people who fund all their movies, again, Netflix is a gazillion-dollar company that makes all sorts of movies. Or if you want to go over to Warner Brothers and make your extremely expensive movies with CNN, you know, in the background for HBO Max, or if you want to go to Disney and do the same thing with, you know, their networks with ABC, it's all conglomerates. I just did a video earlier today about Paramount Skydance putting in a lowball offer to try and buy Warner Brothers from them. They want to consolidate even further. And David Ellison, the guy who just took over as CEO of Warner Brothers Skydance, he's the son of Larry Ellison, like the second richest person in the world. His dad created Oracle. He's like, the future of entertainment is consolidation. So basically, I was like, Mary will love this. Like, it'll all go under one banner, one streaming service to rule them all. But
only in theory.
Yes, only in theory. Only in theory. I think I said that. I said only in theory. But the point is that you want your movies to be made, you're going to have to go to the rich people. And what are the rich people going to be doing while they do that? They're going to be using LLMs, and they're going to be using AI to try and put you out of a job eventually. So you're going to have to start a grassroots campaign on your own if you want any of this to ring true.
We got a big fat super chat from Not That John Stewart. Thank you. I saw ARES last night. The only thing I liked was the visuals, and I like Nine Inch Nails, but whereas Daft Punk had more distinct song themes for each scene, and ARES is the same warbled song, just loud or quiet, as the scene tension required. The plot is stupid. That's what most people said. The actual story sucks. The visuals were on point, and I guess it depends on what you prioritize. Do you like looking at pretty lights, or do you like engaging with the story? That is what will determine whether you give it a fresh or rotten score.
I'm literally the person who's like, half the time I'm like, bro, I don't even remember the story. Like, I love all sorts of movies. I don't always remember the story. That works for me sometimes.
Well, anyway, you're right. I agree in principle with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's point, but I'm bored and I don't want to watch Hollywood movies about AI. I'm not interested, and I think that's where most people are at.
No, I think if anything, what they should be doing is they should be looking into making movies as far away from science fiction as possible. Make movies about what it means to be, like, unbelievably human.
I think that's why I didn't see it, but I think that's why a lot of people liked what was that Ari Aster movie about the pandemic?
The one with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat.
Only in spite of Pedro Pascal. Yeah. But that
Eddington,
yeah. People really liked that movie. Yeah. They thought that was a very honest portrayal of how community got torn apart and divided against itself with something that we really experienced. And like, I mean, I don't really like incorporating COVID into a movie storyline, but it's more interesting than like you know, Jared Leto being an AI super soldier and like, we don't know how to control this technology. Like, it's
they
just
could
like,
also, like, if they really wanted to, all they have to do is, let me rephrase this. They could if they didn't have ideological barricades, but just go back to making romantic comedies to get everyone's mind off things. But they can't do that because gender issues in Hollywood are so advanced that they're not allowed to make those movies, and the streaming model has kind of stripped them of their luster, and they're not really going to be releasing in theaters unless you get something like, you know, whatever was with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, Anyone But You, or the other option you have is Colleen Hoover. And before long, you're going to get Morning Glory Milking Farm, the live action movie.
please no. Please no.
It's gonna happen.
Let's talk about some more bad art while we're at it. So over the weekend, this story was spreading everywhere. People are talking about the desecration of the ancient Canterbury Cathedral. This is actually a cathedral controlled by the Anglican Church, but it used to be a Catholic cathedral, and that's personally why I care about it. It's also the site of Thomas Becket's martyrdom, and it was founded by St. Augustine of Canterbury. It has a very long history. 1400 years ago is when this church was founded, and now what has happened to it is it's under the control of a bunch of woke gay people. And the Dean of Canterbury, David Monteith, approved this art installation called Hear Us to be displayed inside, where it's a bunch of what appears to be graffiti messages all over the walls and pillars inside. You can play this video and show some of them. But this isn't actually even graffiti art. The ironic thing is, these are printed out stickers.
Stencils. Okay, they're stickers, yeah.
Stickers that were stuck on the wall. And you can even see, if you look at the font that they used in all of these messages, they're just stock images. They weren't even spray painted onto the walls. And it's designed by an art curator named Jacqueline Cresswell, who actually only, like, as far as I did in my research, she only curates art installations in places of worship, like in Christian churches. And then there's also this poet named Alex Vellis, who looks extremely smarmy, and he was the one who came up with the wording, I'm guessing, for all of these messages. He's non-binary and queer and vegan and all that stuff, goes by they them pronouns.
I have to ask you then.
The works.
I have to ask you. Hashtag, if you made us all in your own form, why the violence, the killing storm?
Yeah, that's
Can you answer
incredibly poignant.
Checkmate, conservative.
Thank you. That was great time.
Got him.
You just pwned all Christians.
With facts and logic.
Thank you, guys. So that was kind of the point of the whole art installation, is we're going to put all these messages that are challenging God's authority inside a place of Christian worship and call it art. Some of them also question God's existence. One of the messages says, "Are you there?" Another one says, "Do you ever regret your creations?" To which I said, God doesn't regret his creations, but I hope that you will regret your creations one day.
We still live in this age. Look, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I was never an art major. I still laugh when I hear like the character in the TV show that's like an art history major. Like, what does that even mean? But was there ever a time where like lame, trendy nihilism wasn't the case for artists? Like, is there just some need for there to be some sort of like faux intellectual nihilism?
Well, it used to be that artists were not like worshipped in the culture.
Yeah, they were, if anything, it's like when they would talk about like artists of old, they were actually looked down upon.
I was actually inside the Sistine Chapel recently, and I was getting a tour from a seminarian in Rome who has a lot of knowledge about art history, and he was talking about the way that artists were commissioned for their work. Usually they had no creative control over what it was they were meant to depict. They were paid to create something very specific that was laid out for them, and there were very few exceptions to that rule. Michelangelo being one of the exceptions, he got to choose what was depicted in the Sistine Chapel because he was exceptional for his time. And he was an innovative artist. Most artists that were paid for their work, they did not decide what was going to be depicted inside a church, because that was left up to the authority of the church. This is a complete upside down version of what art in sacred spaces used to be for. This is, in my opinion, blasphemous. Another message said, "Why did you create hate when love is by far more powerful?" That's, I think, very blatantly blasphemous to assert on the wall of an ancient church that God created hate. That is completely anti-biblical, completely, it is...
You want to explain that in better detail?
Completely false. The idea that God created evil or created hate or created sin is complete, or violence or any of the other things that are, being, kind of childishly complained about on these messages. That's not true. That's not theologically true.
Okay.
And that's why they were approved to be displayed in the church, because the point of this is transgression. Another message.
Can you explain how that is the idea that God created man and hate is a man-made construct? I don't know the answer to this.
The truth is that evil, sin, suffering, evil and sin are privations of the good that God created.
Okay.
That's not the doing of God. God permitted us to have the choice.
Free will.
Yes, okay. Like he gave man free will, and that doesn't mean that sin is God's will. It just means that he permitted us to choose to love him or not with our actions. Another message that was displayed here said, "Why are you indifferent to suffering?" This is a challenge directed at God, asserting that he is indifferent to suffering. Anyone who can look at the crucifix, where God is literally suffering for the sake of humanity, cannot say that God is indifferent to suffering. That just defies reason. But let's talk about who is behind this, though.
There's that 20 before we get to that.
From Shane H. Wilder. "I wrote an article over the desecration of the Canterbury Cathedral yesterday. I quoted Mary's tweet about Job last year. They had a rave there, and the Rochester Cathedral in Kent put mini golf in the nave. It's sickening." Yeah, that's true.
Wait, aren't these so who funds? It's funded through the church?
Yes.
Bro, they're running it like it's a for-profit business. That's even worse.
So on the Canterbury Cathedral website, they have a page dedicated to the art installation. They say this is going to be up in the cathedral until January of 2026. A unique collaboration between poet Alex Vellis, curator Jacqueline Cresswell, and marginalized communities. Through graffiti-style displays within the cathedral, participants pose personal questions to God, merging contemporary inquiries with ancient architecture. The project highlights graffiti as a means of reclaiming public spaces, preserving cultural heritage, and affirming identity. By blending traditional and innovative elements, Hear Us explores the dynamic interaction between faith, art, and community, offering participants a platform for creative expression and self-discovery in a sacred setting. So I actually did look to Alex Vellis's Instagram, the poet behind this. He's currently clapping back at J.D. Vance and Elon Musk and other public figures who are pointing out what a disgusting, disrespectful transgression this is against a place of worship, and saying, they're twats, and, let's see them stand up for marginalized communities. Like, these are not Christian artists, obviously. That doesn't even need to be said. Here were some of the comments that were on the page. This art installation focuses on partnering with marginalized communities such as Punjabi, Black, and Brown diaspora, neurodivergent, and LGBTQIA+ groups. The Reverend David Monteith, Dean of Canterbury, also said, "There is a rawness which is magnified by the graffiti style, which is disruptive. It is unfiltered and not sanitized. This exhibition intentionally builds bridges between cultures, styles, and genres, and allows us to receive the gifts of younger people who have much to say," which is ironic given that young devout Christians these days completely oppose things like this. They want traditionalism, hence the revival of traditional Latin Mass communities, largely driven by Gen Z and millennial Christians. They don't want desecration of sacred spaces. This is intended to appeal to the most out of touch boomers. Jacqueline Cresswell being one of them, the Dean of Canterbury being another.
Guilty for some reason of their own religion. Like why are they so hell bent on doing this?
I mean, I think the Dean of Canterbury, given the fact that he is an openly gay man, is an infiltrator of the church. I don't think that he genuinely holds Christian beliefs. This is an intentional uprooting of Christian culture. He also added that this graffiti installation makes him wonder, quote, why I am not always able to be as candid, not least in my prayers. So this is him basically admitting that all of these messages are meant to challenge God's authority inside a Christian church. I posted a video about this on Instagram and TikTok over the weekend and showed a picture of the Dean of Canterbury. Physiognomy never lies. This man is just as ugly on the outside as he is on the inside. And I also saw a piece in European Conservative by Kajetan Skowronski, who petitioned against the silent rave that was held in the Canterbury Cathedral.
Wait,
back
is it one
in
of those
February.
ones where they wear headphones while
Yeah.
they're doing it? Yeah.
They put up a petition.
I mean, that's my problem with
it.
it. If you're gonna have a rave, at least have a real rave.
They got over 1,000 signatures and presented it to the Dean of Canterbury, and he met with the Dean of Canterbury about this, where he defended the decision to hold this silent rave with Eminem songs and Britney Spears songs inside the cathedral with an open bar. He summarizes his main points, and he says it's important for understanding how a sacred minister can talk himself into inviting sacrilege into God's house. On the one hand, the dean was keen to stress the financial needs of the cathedral, that this was a good fundraiser towards the £10 million he must raise each year to maintain it. He was clear that he had not naively thought that it would lead to any religious conversions for the ravers, but he would not go so far as to describe it as a necessary evil or an act of profanity that was regrettable. He required to pay for that which is sacred. He maintained that in his understanding of the theology of the incarnation, Christ had come into the mess of the world, and so too the church must enter into this mess. But what he failed to understand is that, yeah, Christ entered into the mess of the world, not to affirm the mess, but to redeem the mess. And that's
Well, you're not even allowed to
not expressed at all.
You're not even allowed to ask anybody to repent anymore.
Right. Obviously,
it's
that.
socially unacceptable.
Right. The dean defined the nave of the church as both a sacred space and common ground where it was fitting to engage in both sacred and secular activities. The more exclusively sacred side chapels and altars are sites of martyrdom. A few steps from the nave would not be open to ravers, he insisted. The dean made an interesting argument based on historical precedent. In medieval times, he noted, the nave had been used for purposes other than worship, such as markets for pilgrims and church ales, festivals particular to England at which local beer was drunk. However, that seemed to stretch the comparison very far. Whilst church ales may have taken place in some naves, typically in poorer parishes which did not have separate halls, church ales were usually organized by parish guilds to celebrate a patron saint and raise funds for a good cause. Hence, festivals were infused with the sacred life of the church in such a way that cannot be said of a disco, which simply uses the sacred building as a quirky venue. And I did point out they just basically made the interior of the church look like the graffitied walls of a bathroom stall at any music venue that you go to. Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, this person is an infiltrator, in my opinion. I don't think the Dean of Canterbury genuinely holds any of his purported theological beliefs. And I do feel a little bit of vindication as a Catholic that this is an Anglican-controlled parish.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
All right. So following the backlash over Bad Bunny headlining the Super Bowl halftime show and his repeated provocations against Americans, his command for us to learn Spanish before the Super Bowl in February, Turning Point has responded with their own version of the Super Bowl halftime show. They announced what they're calling the All-American halftime show. They did not use the name of the Super Bowl in the title, I assume, because it's trademarked.
Yeah.
But they say performers and event details are coming soon, and you can go on their website. It says celebrating faith, family, and freedom on February 8th, 2026.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think I would have, I think announcing it, I understand why they did it because it's reactionary.
Yeah.
And the whole point was it's like when the Daily Wire announces Snow White, because it's reactionary to the content. But like announcing it without a musical act is a bad look.
Well, they actually put up a poll on their website asking people what music genres they would like to see featured at the event. And you can choose from the following: Americana, classic rock, country, hip hop, pop, and worship music, or simply anything in English.
See, that's the,
And they were teasing an announcement of the first singer to be featured in the show, but I still have yet to see any details on who that might be. They say Tyler Boyer actually said, "Just wait until you hear is asking to join this lineup. The country is responding in a big way. God bless America." And Jack Posobiec responded saying, "Hold me now." He's implying that Creed could headline. That would be a huge deal. And I said Turning Point would in fact have the means to pay Creed for such an act. Like, they could pay them enough. It just depends on their willingness to be affiliated with a political organization like Turning Point.
Yeah, that's the hard part there. It's like, look,
definitely would be in their price range,
like,
though.
think about like Snoop Dogg, who's made like literally all the money in the world. Like, he's just the joke for 20 years has been that Snoop Dogg has just been on side quests since like the early 2000s with his Martha Stewart collaborations and all of this stuff, and yet they were still paid him enough money to do the crypto ball, where he wasn't even for the president, but somehow got him tied to the president and brought in re-brought into focus all the things he said about the president in the past and how he's kind of changed his tune on it. And even then he had his Lightyear controversy. Like, what artist is, still with mainstream appeal is going to want to be dragged into an unfortunately very political situation?
Riley Gaines said, Bad Bunny told Americans they had 4 months to learn Spanish if we wanted to understand the Super Bowl halftime show. No thanks, we'll just have our own. Enjoy your low-rated halftime show. And Jack Posobiec said to Bad Bunny, you have 4 months to learn English. So now Vanity Fair has published a short list of possible performers who make perfect sense to headline the All-American halftime show.
And we put a poll up, ladies and gentlemen. We put a poll up. Who did we list here? We list who's winning right now.
Snoop Dogg, Morgan Wallen, Carrie Underwood, and Creed.
Right now, Creed is in the lead. Creed is in the lead with 51% of the voting. With 4 choices, that's quite a bit. Carrie Underwood is second. And you know what? I would choose Carrie Underwood if I were them.
Really?
Yeah. Why? Yeah, I do. Because I think she'd do it because she performed for the president. Yeah. And she is one of those artists that's allowed to kind of straddle the lines of the mainstream and still go to do perform something for the White House and still be mainstream enough. Maybe they get Gwen Stefani after that Hallow app.
Yeah.
Get Carrie Underwood and Gwen Stefani to do it.
The counter-programming culture wars have begun. Turning Point USA has announced it's planning its own Super Bowl halftime show in protest of the NFL's decision to have Bad Bunny headline the main event. The so-called All-American halftime show will take place on February 8th, 2026, the same date as the Super Bowl. Conservatives were up in arms after it was announced that Bad Bunny, one of the biggest artists in the world, as well as an American citizen from Puerto Rico, would be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show. Speaking to right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson, Kristi Noem threatened that ICE would be all over that place at the Super Bowl, which will be held at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. She maintained that she has every intention to enforce the law. House Speaker Mike Johnson called booking Bad Bunny a terrible decision and offered an alternative. 82-year-old country singer Lee Greenwood, who would attract a broader audience. Doubt that. For the record, the God Bless the USA singer has less than 450,000 monthly Spotify listeners, roughly 190 times less than Bad Bunny. Even Donald Trump called Bad Bunny an absolutely ridiculous choice to headline the Super Bowl, despite claiming that he had never heard of him. As of now, it's unclear where the All-American halftime show will take place or air. On social media, Turning Point said, performers and event details coming soon. On a website, there is a survey that asks the public what music genres they would like to see featured. Although Puerto Rico,
Bad Bunny is kind of like Avatar.
What?
Bad Bunny is basically the Avatar of music, is what I've noticed. Because as soon as people were like, nobody's heard of him, like, no. I remember back in 2021, I said the same thing, and it was like Carter or somebody's like, no, you have no idea how big this dude is.
He's a huge
But
artist.
it's like Avatar. It makes $1 billion. Nobody knows how. Nobody knows anybody that's seen it or talked about it, yet everybody knows that the movie makes huge money. And look, I just feel like this is one of these, like, losing propositions where it's just like, bro, the people who are watching the Super Bowl aren't going to turn over to your halftime show. They're going to go get something to eat instead. Even the ones who support you, I don't think are going to.
You can't dispute that Bad Bunny is a huge globally
No, you cannot.
famous artist, obviously. But the controversy is over his terrible attitude and his very blatant hatred of American culture. It's not about whether or not he's relevant.
Well, yeah, it's like it would be like having it's like when somebody says, well, yeah, like a big rapper is not the person to headline a rock concert. Like there is such a thing as like the right artist for the right venue for the right concert.
And Turning Point has basically made a Faustian bargain here because if they can't secure a headliner that actually competes with Bad Bunny, and I think that can only be Creed, then it's gonna flop.
Oh, then you get Jason Aldean to do it, I guess. Like,
but everyone wants Creed. That's the problem. So unless they can get Creed
feels
it's
internet.
gonna be a fail.
I think Creed feels internet and mimetic in a way that doesn't necessarily translate to the real world. It's one of those things, kind of like what used to happen with Nickelback, but in reverse, which is like everyone was tricked into hating Nickelback because the internet told them to. I would go with somebody more relevant to current year.
So Vanity Fair says perhaps they'll reach out to Carrie Underwood, the country music star who made the controversial decision to sing at Trump's inauguration in January. They also mention that the counter-programming of football's biggest night would probably jeopardize her bag. They also mention Zach Bryan, saying he's one of the biggest names in country music at the moment, recently breaking the record for the largest ticketed concert ever held in the U.S., with over 112,000 fans attending his concert at Michigan Stadium in September. But he might be a tough sell as well, given his recent release of Bad News, which seemingly criticizes ICE. He previously has described himself as a total libertarian, and wrote on his Instagram that he is on neither of the radical political sides. So perhaps Zach Bryan may not be considered conservative enough for Turning Point USA to book him as a headliner. They also mention Snoop Dogg as a possible headliner. After all, he did perform at a pre-inauguration ball for Donald Trump. But considering that Snoop Dogg performed at the Super Bowl with Mary J. Blige, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent, and Anderson .Paak in 2022, he might not want to go against the NFL and Rock Nation, or at all.
Who's the biggest Christian artist right now?
The biggest Christian artist? Gosh, I don't know.
I don't think it's Creed. I don't. It feels very internet specific to me, and that people who don't live their lives online are like, I haven't thought about Creed in 20 years.
If they're in a pinch, they could always ask Trump's favorite singer, Christopher Macchio, to perform, even though opera wasn't listed as an option on the survey.
That'd be good.
Then they also say there's Morgan Wallen as a possibility.
I don't think they can afford Morgan Wallen.
Wallen has become somewhat emblematic of the cultural right, especially after infamously sharing a photo of a private jet on his Instagram with the caption, "Get me to God's country," after an awkward SNL exit earlier this year.
Anything. He had like one bad interaction and then like made a post that angered people on the left.
They said, hey, maybe he'll take the gig to help with his legal fees if he still has any.
I don't think he has
they
any legal
absolutely
fees.
could pay for Morgan
Think
Wallen.
so? Think so?
Because even before Charlie Kirk's assassination, I believe it was reported they have an annual revenue of $150 million. And it's certainly higher than that now because they've gotten a huge influx of pledges and donations following the assassination. So they definitely can. They have the means to pay for pretty much any headliner. The only question is who's willing to affiliate themselves with this political organization.
So it's going to be like Morgan Wallen, Jelly Roll, and...
They're not going to get Jelly Roll. No.
I just, I like the Carrie Underwood. Get an all country music halftime show.
So Carrie Underwood, they could get Jason Aldean.
Yep, that's what I would do.
Who else?
I don't know. I guess John Rich could do it.
John Rich too.
Even he's like he's almost too political for my taste. Jason Aldean just kind of made the song and then got dragged into politics, but I still mostly think of him as a country artist. But like find the artists who are not necessarily on Twitter every day talking about politics.
You know what? They need to get a hologram of Lil Peep.
There you go.
I think that's the key.
All right.
A hologram of Juice WRLD.
You have to get permission for those.
Yeah.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute?
Let's see cringe first.
But before we do that, I have to address this comment in the chat. Papa Rock says Aldean is an effing NWO plant. So the New World Order planted Jason Aldean on us.
Why?
I don't know, but I would read that book.
Please explain further.
I would read that book. All right. What'd you say? Cringe?
Yeah, let's see the cringe first.
Is it bad?
It's just middle of the road, I would say.
Here we go.
I just had an epiphany. I'm unemployed. I live with my parents. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a husband. I don't have kids. I'm a fucking loser. I'm a loser. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Wait, what was that trend from a couple years ago where they were like all spinning around in the, wasn't it like some Taylor Swift TikTok trend where like they were taking a Taylor Swift song and they were like dancing with their pets. They were spinning in a circle.
I think I remember that.
That's what I'm watching right now.
That was animal abuse.
I'm a loser and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm a fucking loser. Woo! I just had an
Okay. All right, then.
It kind of matters, though.
Her therapist is doing a horrible job. Here we go. Cute of the day. All right. This is a good one. Willow in her Zen spot. Willow is very cute and sleepy.
She knows that she's a loser and it doesn't matter.
Willow, don't call Willow a loser. Willow is not a loser.
No, cats are the biggest losers. They're just allowed to be losers. They're total freeloaders.
They just get to hang. No. See, that's not though. See, the loser is the person who lets their cat treat them the way the cat treats them and still helps.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to pay you no attention. I won't be thankful when you do anything for me, and you're still going to clean my crap.
You know what? I've never had a cat like that. Like, I think my cats have always been appreciative.
Ours, I mean,
I never had a bitchy cat.
That's kind of the trope of the cat, though. Like ours are like Mocha is just kind of too stupid to know what's going on, but she's very loving if you go and give her attention. Toast is very energetic and likes to be in the same room as you, but doesn't necessarily hop up on the bed and want to sit on the bed with you. Chloe is the weirdest one. Chloe will ignore you. She will look at you annoyed, and then you'll pick her up and she'll complain the whole way, and you'll set her on the bed. She'll look annoyed for about 2 seconds, and then she'll sit there and hang out with you. Makes no sense. Like she won't she'll come in to hang out with you when you're sleeping. She's like, oh, I'll do that, but only if it's inconvenient to you. Otherwise, the only time is when you bring her into the room, and then she hangs out the whole night. But it's like she won't make the choice to come in there.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Last year, Chappell Roan made the controversial announcement that she was not going to vote for either candidate in the presidential election. And she said that she made that decision not to endorse Kamala Harris because she has problems with both political parties and she thinks they're both corrupt. And her following of mostly Gen Z leftists did not take kindly to that sentiment. It's too nuanced. And she was
I'm over here like
a lot for saying that. She did not get celebrated for saying that. And now I think that she's trying to win back some of that favor that she lost from her audience by dissing ICE at a recent concert at the Rose Bowl. Here was her comment in full.
Hold on.
Owing my duty to take care of it back. So I just want to thank you. And I don't know, fuck ICE forever. Fuck ICE.
Tell him, Queen.
Imagine like showing this to like some dude who stormed the beaches of Normandy. Like
he'd be like, "What's ICE?"
Like, well, and he'd be looking at this. He's like, "What is she doing?"
He probably would think he's looking at a different species.
You know, I still stand.
You still stand?
I still stand.
I appreciate that Chappell Roan is your problematic fave.
I'll tell you why. Because at the very least, she probably wouldn't do it on stage. But if Biden was doing something she didn't like, she would at least be willing to equivocate and be like, she probably wouldn't call out Biden specifically. But like I said, she said both parties are corrupt, which is true for the most part. And you know, this is fine. Plus, Pink Pony Club kind of goes hard.
And it wasn't just F ICE. It was F ICE
forever. Like not
just right
no
now.
Expiration date.
That was
It's so funny because I watch so many old TV shows, so many old procedural shows, and there's just ICE agents all the time, and they're not problematic because they're dealing with terrorists or something like that, people who have gotten into the country illegally, and it was just never a problematic thing to talk about.
These comments were interesting. One said, "I was there when she said this, and a few people walked out shaking their heads. So proud of her. Don't go to her concert if you support Republican values. People should know better." Another person said, 4 girls in front of me started shaking their heads looking disgusted, which I was so disappointed by. I doubt that those girls were shaking their heads in disgust at Chappell Roan. I think they were mirroring her shaking her head at ICE.
Yeah, I don't think that those girls were
the people who walked
like,
out probably were.
Those girls don't have big pictures of Tom Homan in
if you
their,
walked
in
out
their
early, like walking out early is a sign that you disagreed with her, but shaking your head, I think they were just in solidarity with her. And then another comment said, "We still haven't forgotten that Chappell Roan refused to endorse Kamala Harris while using their platform to push both sides are the same nonsense."
I see people in the chat who are agreeing with those people for different reasons. Leif Erikson says, saying both are corrupt is not the W that you think it is.
Another comment said, "Art is political. Music is political. I'm so happy she's advocating for communities." So some people ate this up. And in response,
I am of the opinion that once you get famous, you have no obligation to anybody whatsoever. And if you want to use your platform to do absolutely nothing of value for anyone but yourself, that is 110% your right to do so. And I encourage it 110%. Like, I want you to be as selfish as possible with your platform. Like, not just am I not going to push other communities, fuck your community specifically.
Well, if you want to feel like you're losing your mind, just read a TMZ headline like this. Feds clap back at Chappell Roan saying F ICE at concert.
Aren't these people on furlough? Am I paying for somebody to write this?
Like, you can't clap back at Chappell Roan during a government shutdown.
I thought you people were on, like, break right now. Isn't the government shut down?
Feds clap back. Yeah, that's something they do now. DHS Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs Tricia McLaughlin tells TMZ, "Pink Pony Club is good. Pedophiles are bad. That's who we're getting off our streets. Get a grip." And she didn't cite any statistics, but here's some numbers. A recent study from the Cato Institute found 65% of people detained by ICE from October 2024 to mid-June this year have never committed a crime. Oh, other than
coming into the country, into the country illegally.
And
which means that in most of the places, unless they're in one of those, which are the states that allow you to have a driver's license, even if you're here undocumented, which means they are committing other crimes, compounding on it. But like I said, we had this discussion on IRL last week, which was like, most people are comfortable with the idea of ICE or the idea of Customs and Border Patrol turning people away at the border. Most Americans do not have the stomach for what they're doing now, which is in-country removal.
TMZ added, ICE is nabbing sex offenders in the immigration raids, but a lot of hardworking folks are getting swept up too. Just saying, with the little emoji that goes like this.
So this is like if somebody takes a child hostage in a bank robbery. Do you just let them exist because somebody else is caught up in the problem? What do you want them to do?
Criminals are hardworking folks. But yeah, it's notable that Chappell Roan is not being given full credit for paying lip service to this cause because of the fact that she didn't vote for Democrats in the general election. And they think that if she really stood for these values, she would have endorsed Kamala in the race. And I also wanted to mention that Flop, Chance the Rapper, also displayed this message at a recent concert in Chicago. On the Jumbotron, it said, giant F ICE.
It's kind of going hard
displayed
because
behind him on stage.
In Person of Interest, when the machine gave way to Samaritan and it started using the different operating system on the Samaritan AI, it had like the red triangle as part of its aesthetic. It's kind of going hard here.
We were joking about how this is what it looks like when you ask for light ice at Starbucks.
Yeah, that's what I feel like what if all of these people just really don't want to drink drink beverages that are too cold?
Look, if you want a warm beverage, that's your right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna fault you for it.
Like, I can't with all of it. And here's the thing. I get the point. And I would agree to the person earlier who said that, like, saying that both parties are corrupt. That was Leif Erikson in the chat. Calling both parties corrupt is not the the flex that you think it is. But it is true that in a lot of ways, the parties are a lot more similar than people are willing to admit. And even if I don't necessarily think that Chappell Roan has the most unique thoughts in her head, she does have more unique thoughts, seemingly, than the average modern day pop star. And I'll take it.
It's a low bar.
It's a low bar, but I will take it. I would prefer if most of them, though, like I said, I want every one of these celebrities to be like, I don't want to support your community. I don't want to support their community. I want to, like, what is that Snoop Dogg thing? He's like, I want to thank me. Like, I just want people to just do you. Nobody else.
Chappell Roan says a lot of things that just leave me with a big question mark. Like, she talks like somebody that grew up 30 years ago. She's a zillennial, and she claims that growing up in, trailer park country as an adolescent shaped her views, her social views. And she claims that in her high school, everyone was so homophobic that they called gays clowns. And that's why she wears clown makeup, to own the label that was, put on the gay community by her peers at the time. I don't believe for a second that Chappell Roan, a zillennial, went to high school with a bunch of raging homophobes. I just don't believe that.
No, and it's like the phantom struggle that they wish that they had been a part of when it was going on 30 years ago. I wonder. So Luke himself says Brett keeps having horrible takes. Like, most people don't want interior removal when they voted for it. No, my point is that now you see the celebrities like coming out and kind of soft walking it back, like Joe Rogan, who says have a heart. Right? And he's trying to be indicative of what some people may say. A lot of people, perhaps they didn't think of what actual immigration enforcement was going to be. And we haven't even gotten the mass deportations that they claimed that they were going to do.
Right.
But I do believe that for a lot of people, my point was, and I made this point when I was on IRL, which is why I say most people aren't suited for power, meaning either whether it be a CEO of a company who has to cut whole divisions of people and fire them for the good of the whole company. You cut off a limb so the body won't die. Or somebody who has to be the president and remove people from whole communities. People who live in those communities who have grown to be friends and neighbors with these people would have a harder time being okay with that than somebody at the top of the power structure is all I'm saying.
It's kind of confusing. It must be that I grew up like on the East Coast, because everyone is talking about how like I have like friends that are illegal and like living here undocumented. I'm like, I have never like knowingly been friends or coworkers or anything with any illegal immigrants. And even if that were the case for me, I wouldn't feel any differently about this issue. But I guess that's just Because, you know, if you're a conservative when you're young, you have no heart.
Yes, and any of the people that are pushing back here, we're already having a discussion that is more nuanced than what she probably puts into any thought she has whatsoever about these topics. I don't think she takes a very, very detailed and nuanced stance on deportation and immigration as a policy in any way, shape, or form. But I still find her more interesting than, like, say, an Olivia Rodrigo.
She has a slightly higher verbal IQ than maybe the likes of a Sabrina Carpenter.
Let's go to, we got a 20 there, and then we'll go to Super Chats.
Oh, I didn't see that 20. Is it from Pop Culture Junkie?
Yes.
As the captain of the Titanic once said, just stopping for ice. Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, thanks, guys. It was fun. Hiding Ghost Mary in there twice was my nod to The Exorcist. By the way, the coffee goes great with coffee zins.
Ah, I didn't even know there was such a thing.
I'm not a super big fan of the coffee-flavored zins. I tried it for a while, but it doesn't taste like coffee to me.
Dark Horse Productions in the chat says it's only hard because emotions and not logic. Yes, but politics works on both, right? Like the idea is like the Ben Shapiro approach to everything can't win forever, and they talk about this all the time. You can't win the women with pure logic all the time. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, I guess if you want to curate the message toward a female audience, you have to spotlight the victims of violent crimes by illegals rather than anger, like rather than like pro like nationalist.
And they have been
anger.
And look, there has been like, and the other thing that I pointed out on Wednesday was like the dialect, the language that has been used over the last 20 or 30 years, the way the language has been softened has been done specifically for the purpose of obfuscating what this process is. So what used to be the idea of an illegal alien became an illegal immigrant, became an undocumented immigrant, became an immigrant. So the language isn't even something that people agree on now. Look at 90% of the people talking about this issue, and they're acting as if they're deporting people who came here legally and filed their papers, came here with every right and privilege that you get when you follow the process. That's not what we're talking about here. But the reason it's been obfuscated is to make stupid people believe that that's what's happening.
Corey Anderson said, did y'all see the video of that guy trying to pee on the altar in the middle of the Vatican? I don't believe this will be the last of the blasphemy.
I'm so glad that I haven't seen that.
I did see that. It happened a handful of days ago. And
when was that? Was that a recent thing, or was it just
a day, like a few days ago that happened? And in the video, the most infuriating part of it is this usher, you know, who works there was just like impotently grabbing this guy by the shoulder and not really even stopping him.
Could you pee
like,
on the altar?
What the hell was that? So, I mean, I really hope that guy was just like super mentally ill and didn't know what he was doing, because that
would be better.
Disgusting.
That would be that's the small hope.
But
in
also,
that
like, I still kind of feel like thank you. The lady who went in the Vatican to do her interpretive dancing was worse. Thank you, guys.
Cringier, somehow.
Yeah, definitely.
One's just gross, the other one's cringy.
Yeah. She did get escorted out as well, though. Justifiably so. Eazy-E said, it seems unfair to blame Jared Leto. Does everything he touched turn into trash? Yes, of course. But Disney can't not ruin a niche, nerdy IP in 2025.
That was kind of my point about consolidation in my Warner Brothers videos. Like, I don't want to live in a world where, like, I don't want, like, is the end result of this going to be one day Disney buys Paramount and owns whatever Taylor Sheridan is doing? Like, say what you want about Taylor Sheridan, but I want him to continue making the stuff he wants to make. I don't want Bob Iger to be like, actually, I think we should. No. I don't want Paramount to buy Warner Brothers either.
Do you think that the blame can be laid at Jared Leto's feet, at least in part?
I don't think people.
I just don't think that he's not a box office draw.
I mean, that would make sense if they were advertising it heavily as a Jared Leto movie, but they were not.
Right.
It was being advertised as, hey, remember that like niche dorky or geeky franchise that your dad liked because it was a cult classic back in '82.
Yeah.
Did you see the sequel did you see Tron Legacy in 2010? It's a lifetime ago.
I think you just remember like being happier in 2010. So you're like, oh, if I go see Tron ARES, I can like feel like I did in 2010. I'll be happy.
They're like, it worked when we made Avatar in 2009, and then we're like, it's 2022. Do you remember feeling happy?
Look at
like
the pretty
you did?
lights.
Do you remember 2009 when Jay Sean released Down and Avatar came out? Feel that way again.
That was so similar to the song that we're actually going to get copyright claimed for that. Yeah. Greg Duvier said, need more movies like The Fall Guy. Well, I wish, but The Fall Guy also flopped at the box office.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the sad
what are
thing
we
is
gonna do?
that movie was great. Like none of the movies that I've really liked have been like I loved F1 and F1 made money at the box office. It's Brad Pitt's biggest movie of all time, but it cost so much to make that it didn't make nearly enough, you know, in relation to its budget. I loved Gran Turismo in 2023. That one didn't really make a whole lot of money.
I mean, that was okay. The Fall Guy I loved.
Fall Guy was
great. I
great.
also loved Argyle.
I liked the
another
first half.
flop.
I liked the first half of Argyle, and then I had to buy was that Bryce Dallas Howard?
At least I'm just saying there was a justification for her character arc in the plot, you know.
I mean, that ice skating dancing scene is unforgivable. He did not pick her up. I'm sorry.
Well, that was a little bit hard to believe.
Those were wires.
Yeah.
Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back.
Speaking of flops, one battle after another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, has bombed at the box office. They had a budget of $130 million, and they grossed $125 million worldwide. I'll give you a summary, but this is being described by many as basically a leftist power fantasy. Here's the description. Bob, this is Leonardo DiCaprio's character, is a washed-up revolutionary who lives in a state of stoned paranoia, surviving off-grid with his spirited and self-reliant daughter Willa. When his evil nemesis resurfaces and Willa goes missing, the former radical scrambles to find her as both father and daughter battle the consequences of their pasts. So, I admittedly have not watched this movie, so I can't give you my personal take on it, but I would like to show a TikTok made by a guy who just walked out of the theater calling it woke propaganda and his reasons for why he thinks that is.
So currently at the movie theater, and you came to see this because it was rated like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, this guy deserves to like be had if you think
If
that,
you
like,
think
a
the
high,
critic
like,
score is supposed to mean it's good.
Like if you're using Rotten Tomatoes as some type of barometer, you're either lying just to make a point with your video or you deserve to be had.
And stuff. I don't know who's rating these movies, but we just walked out of it. It starts off with basically an Antifa war cry and is inciting
What is that,
people
like yelling soy at the top of your lungs?
to go blow things up and take people out of immigrants out of the concentration camps or whatever they're calling them, and then essentially has this conservative group get together, and they're a secret racist society trying to
I love the music. Was this the score from the movie? If so, it goes kind of hard.
cleanse the races in America. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with this, but that is crazy and garbage.
Like,
so the first
music,
scenes
the music
include...
added so much more layers to that. It's just the guy walking out of the theater.
The first scenes include breaking immigrants out of detention facilities, inciting people to blow up detention facilities and free the immigrants, and a conservative group forms. They're called a secret racist society by this guy, trying to cleanse the races in America. And on Rotten Tomatoes, you can currently see it's got a 95% rating from critics and an 85% rating from the audience. And I saw a comment from Bret Easton Ellis about this movie's reception that was getting a lot of attention over the weekend, because you rarely see anyone speak so candidly about how out of touch Hollywood is. Here's what he said on his podcast.
He talks to Colonel Kurtz a decent amount, right? I think
Really?
he's interviewed her, or she's interviewed him more than once.
Cool. Here's what he said. It's kind of shocking to see these accolades for, I'm sorry, it's not a very good movie, because of its political ideology. And it's so obvious that that's what they're responding to. Why it's considered a masterpiece, the greatest film of the decade, the greatest film ever made, is because it really aligns with this leftist sensibility. It will soon be a kind of musty relic of the post-Kamala Harris era, that thing everyone gathers around and pretends is so fantastic and so great when it really isn't, just to make a point. There is a liberal mustiness to this movie that already feels very dated by October 2025. Very dated, and it just doesn't read the room. It reads a tiny corner of the room, but it does not read what is going on in America. And I don't think that Hollywood is going to live down that term that he offered there. Liberal mustiness. Because it describes it perfectly when we're talking about projects that are holdovers from the anti-woke vibe shift.
The ones that people describe as we thought Kamala was going to win.
The we thought Kamala would win movies are still coming out. They're still slated for 2025 and 2026.
Paul Thomas Anderson is a very, very famous director. It's the point I was making the other week, which is like, I guess mine was more about the financially successful directors, which is like the ones who were successful back in the 90s, they kind of get carte blanche to make the stuff that they want because their name is attached to it. But it's not like Paul Thomas Anderson has really had any hits in the last couple of years that anybody can even remember, at least not in the last decade or so. I just laugh for these types of movies. So I do want to make a point. I actually do believe, I don't distrust Rotten Tomatoes critic scores inherently. I distrust them more when it's a politically motivated or like biased movie. Like if they're reviewing a Dave Chappell special, I don't trust them. If they're reviewing a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, I don't trust it. If they're reviewing Eddington, I don't trust it. But if it's just your average summer blockbuster, I don't even think anything of it, as an aggregator system, right? But when it comes to movies that have political bends to it, you should not be looking to Rotten Tomatoes critic scores for an honest answer.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the critic scores. They're obviously vast majority positive. One of them, though, says this is an infuriating, hypersexualized, politically polarized film in which almost every character is contemptible.
That's the worst part too, is like, I feel like the best part to movie making and television is characters should be generally likable. I feel like they took all the wrong lessons from the anti-heroes that have succeeded. Like everybody jokes about how much I mentioned the show House, but on its face, the show shouldn't work because the character is so effing unlikable to everybody. But in general, I want movie characters and television characters to be likable. Like you want to see them succeed.
One of the audience reviews said, I went into this movie with an open mind as I consider myself an independent. Star-studded cast, action-packed, so I was in. Sorry to say it wasn't good as I wanted more character development, and it had no chance of being realistic. I found it to overemphasize an extreme left viewpoint, so I'm sure it will appeal to that audience and do well with awards. And that's kind of what it is for. It's for award season. It's Oscar bait.
Paul Thomas Anderson's last 4 movies. Licorice Pizza in 2021 made $33 million. Phantom Thread in 2017 made $52 million. Inherent Vice in 2014 made $14.8 million. Yeah. And The Master in 2012 made $28.7 million.
Another one said the commentary about ICE and current political problems was a backdrop for the movie, but in my opinion, that didn't excuse nor justify the extremist actions of the revolutionaries. So I'm guessing the angle they took this is the leftist revolutionaries are taking by any means necessary action against a right-wing government. And I think that's why Leonardo DiCaprio chooses his projects now, like Killers of the Flower Moon being another example, the Scorsese movie that came out. I think that was last year.
2
that was about
ago?
like, you know,
might have been last year.
Colonialism, and he's pretty much off the deep end, but you can't deny that he has the star power to carry a movie and is talented.
He's a very talented actor.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that Mickey 17 was another example of people pointing out these holdovers from the pre-anti-woke vibe shift era as well. Didn't see that one either.
Yeah. All of it is just, it's very like, and these movies are never expected to light up the box office. Like nobody's expecting this movie to make the money that you think that they were expecting it to make. Now, even if the election had gone the other way, I don't think they would have expected this movie to make the money that they think it was going, that you think that they would want it to make at the box office. I don't think they care. These are the ones that do get that funding. So I kind of go back and forth. I do believe for the most part that these studios want to make money. I don't agree. I don't always subscribe to the idea that they're just propaganda machines inherently and only want to push ideas that, you know, you find objectionable. I think they want to do both. I think they want to push ideas that a lot of people find objectionable, and they want to make a profit at the same time. But these are the ones that are a write-off in that respect. Like the Paul Thomas Anderson movies, even the Eddingtons, the Ari Aster movies, like they're not.
Did Eddington make money?
I mean, it wouldn't have had the budget. It wouldn't have had the budget that something like this had, anyways.
Let me see. So, the budget for Eddington was $25 million.
So it probably did make at least some of the money back.
I wonder if it made a profit here. Looks like they had a total gross of $10 million.
So not even close.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's just meant to generate conversation.
Yeah.
So they see it as a worthwhile trade-off.
Yeah. Look, they're not good at it anymore. Hollywood used to be much better at making the propaganda go down easier. They really did.
Yeah.
They did. I think that the point that I'm going to keep hammering home is like they did better when instead of showing you evil group of people does evil things, they show you good guy who does things that they like. So, you know, have good guy character who everybody likes, played by an actor that everybody likes, who's cool and with it. Have like generically, maybe not progressive, but liberal values. And they made a lot of progress in society over the last 50 years by showing you generic good. Okay, for instance, if you want to wonder why the boomers are the way they are, you watch old episodes of NCIS and Gibbs is basically like talking to his old fuddy-duddy partner who's like, women in charge? Meh. And Gibbs is like 60, all right? I mean, the actor's like 60, but he's like a vet. And he's like, the world's changing, Mike. Like, that's how they got to the point they were at now with liberal values. Not by showing you bad guy does stupid thing because he's bigoted. They showed you character that you generally like, and he had generically liberal values.
But you mean they didn't entirely demonize the other side?
No, the otder guy was just shows like, oh, Mike, there he is.
Like the old fuddy-duddy is just like, oh, he's from a different time, but we still love him.
Yes, he was his mentor, and I'm just using one example from the boomer shows that I watch. But that's how Hollywood got to the point it is now, because it was just, here's a character you already like. You've got however many seasons of liking him with good storytelling, and he just has, you know, they do this on Blue Bloods where the characters are, it's like a Catholic family. They go to church every Sunday, and he's like a deacon at his church, whatever. I don't remember exactly what his role is, but they go to confession, all that stuff. But he's like, he gets into a conversation with like the head of the church about gay marriage. And it's a Trojan horse. But it's not done by saying that the church is evil. It's just him saying why this of all issues is the one that they haven't changed on. And if you're just a generic person who doesn't think about politics or religion, you're like, whoa, why don't they?
Yeah.
Like,
it was more covertly disguised.
Yes, it was done infinitely easier. I could make a list for them of like 100 examples of this stuff.
I thought, you know, post anti-woke vibe shift, does this just train the left to present their propaganda in a more covert way? I guess only time will tell.
If they're smart, they will.
If they will self-correct.
If they're smart. But the thing is their side doesn't even allow you to do that. They're if you're not for us, you're against us. And if you're not explicitly sharing our values, then you're not working hard enough.
Right. I have seen those conversations taking place intra-left, and the people who challenge their own side to have more effective messaging that doesn't demonize people on the right or in the middle, they get dragged. So I guess we'll have to see if they correct themselves over time.
And I think the other reason why those storylines or those things that I explained worked is because like the idea in, I guess, like 2009 of like in NCIS of a woman being the head of an armed federal agency was novel. But if you did that now, they'd be like, well, like if TV is reality, they've been doing that for 30 years. So for instance, on High Potential, which I'm still enjoying, though this last episode had an annoying storyline, like the captain of their division was like up for like chief, and like she doesn't get it, and like the one of the lead characters basically makes it like, oh, it's because you're a woman. And then they introduced the guy who got the job at the end of the episode. Now they haven't done anything really. He's introduced in kind of a fairly intellectual way, so it could go one of two ways. He could be a complete douchebag and end up being exactly everything that you expect Hollywood to be like today, men bad. Or they could find out that this guy isn't that bad and the writing could have been more nuanced than that. Time will tell on that. But again, in 2009, that story made sense. And that character was like, I had to work my ass off every day to get where I was. My career had to come first before everything. I never was able to have a family. I never had a husband and kids. And they talk about the sacrifice that this character of Jenny Shepard made to become the first female head of an armed federal agency. And that was a unique story to tell in 2009. Now, if you saw it, you're like, oh my, shut the fuck up. Like,
right.
It's like they haven't learned how to pivot and do the same type of, smooth tasting propaganda because it's already there.
Right.
Like they've already achieved their goals, and what they want to achieve now doesn't go down the hatch quite the same way.
Yeah.
All
right. Shane H. Wilder said to the Dean of Canterbury, "It is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves." Yeah, if only we could go in there with a braided whip. I did note though recently, that, you know, a lot of people, when they have anger toward the infiltrators of the church, they try to liken their anger, their righteous anger, to the righteous anger of Christ. And that kind of absolves you from like self-reflecting and like taking a moment to think through it. In the actual story, when Jesus goes in to turn over the tables of the money changers and cracks the whip at them, it's like noted that he takes the time to fashion his own whip. He actually fashions his own whip, which probably took quite a while for him to do. It's not something you just do like you're like in a moment of heated anger and you fashion a whip. It takes a while, and he like gave it the proper amount of thought and premeditation, which means that he wasn't lashing out on social media. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Greg Duvier said, "Skillet for the Turning Point halftime show."
Do you mean Skrillex? Because that would be funny.
They mean Skillet.
I say Skrillex.
Yeah, I think that would be sick, actually. Maybe they could get hologram, what was that guy's name? Avicii?
Oh, yeah.
Hologram Avicii.
Yeah.
Make it a whole, like, Europop thing.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Guess that wouldn't be very all-American, but it would be a vibe.
Yeah, but then they get called racist because, like, oh, you're fine with immigrants as long as they're white.
Right.
That's what they'd say.
Pop Culture Junkie said, "If I was an advertiser who paid the $1 zillion for a spot in the Super Bowl halftime show, I would be a little nervous right now." I don't know. I mean, I think that the ratings are going to be steady because unlike a lot of broadcasts like award shows, the Super Bowl ratings have stayed up through the years. Like they still get the same amount of views every year compared to other broadcasts. So I don't know if this is going to backfire on them that they chose Bad Bunny.
Yes, I think
Remains
that
to be seen.
Well, the thing, like then by next
unless
year,
he does like something really outrageous in his performance, other than just performing his songs.
The news cycle moves too quickly. It'll be over and done and forgot about in 2 weeks.
Like, is his halftime show gonna have a fuck ice image in the background or something?
Oh, like, yeah, Flyleaf. We should have put Flyleaf on there.
Yeah, Flyleaf.
Thank you. Light bulb.
I don't know if they're still really doing stuff, but that would be cool. Shane H. Wilder said, "With Alter Bridge touring overseas at that time, we aren't getting Creed. It could be pulled off with a supergroup featuring Scott Stapp." They could get Creed. I'm sure they could pull some strings. It just depends on if they're willing. They have enough money. Turning Point definitely has enough money to pay whoever whatever amount they are asking for.
Just get All That Remains to do it.
They could definitely get All That Remains. They could get Alice Cooper.
That'd be good.
That's
That'd be
a
good.
possibility. Yeah. He supports Trump, right? He's a Trump guy.
I don't know if he's a Trump guy, but he's definitely like open about
Something
his
like
faith.
that. Greg Duvier said, "My cats are slave owns."
I think he means like
Slave owners?
he's a slave
that
to
you're
his
the slave
cats.
to the cats. Yeah.
Do 2 more.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Reset the person of interest counter."
I did person of interest, house, and NCIS today,
Setting
and
records.
Blue Bloods. Yeah, I did all of them. Look, not what can I say? I'm unique. Everybody else wants to talk about sci-fi and dystopian fiction. What do you want? What do you want from me? Want me to be like everybody else? I'm not gonna do that. I'm not like most girls. Okay, I'm not. Do 1 more.
Blight Bulb said, "We need AI images of Cowboy Ice riding pink ponies." She's at the border in her heels.
Yes.
It's where she belongs. She's fighting ice in her heels.
I said that to Mary earlier. She did laugh. Mainly because she's like, that means Brett knows the words to the song.
I didn't think that Pink Pony Club was a very good song, to be honest.
Definitely.
And I would admit if I liked it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm listening more to the Taylor Swift album,
Mm-hmm.
trying to like become familiar with all the tracks on it. I think Elizabeth Taylor is a good song.
Okay.
Like,
what do you like? What do you like about
I'm
it?
willing to give her credit where it's due.
What
I
do
don't
you
know
like
why. I just think it's like, here's the thing. Every Taylor Swift song I like after her country era would be better as a Lana Del Rey song.
Okay.
So I just wish that Elizabeth Taylor were a Lana Del Rey song, and if I could put it through an AI engine that just made it into a Lana Del Rey song, I would like it. I would like it way more. In fact, I'll admit now, just to be intellectually honest, if this album were a Lana Del Rey album, I would probably be singing its praises.
Okay, so let me refresh it. Like, what is a Lana Del Rey song that would be better as a Taylor Swift song?
None of them.
None? Okay.
Literally none of them. I promise you that. And she's a better vocalist, a better lyricist. Lana Del Rey is just able to get away with more in my worldview. And if Elizabeth Taylor were a Lana Del Rey song, I would be 10 times as obsessed with it. I think it's slightly catchy from Taylor Swift.
Okay.
And that also goes for Snow on the Beach, which is a Taylor Swift song featuring Lana Del Rey. It was hugely controversial at the time because they put her on as a feature, but you could barely hear Lana's voice. So Taylor had to re-release it featuring more Lana Del Rey this time. So you could actually hear her singing one of the verses. That would also be better if it were just a Lana Del Rey song.
There you go.
But we can't have nice things.
Speaking of which, let's move on.
Yes. Okay. So Hayley Williams of Paramore has evidently kind of lost her mind in recent years. She has become radically leftist. You might recall her screaming her endorsement of Kamala Harris last year on stage right off of a script. And that's just scratching the surface.
That's not like some
how
type
much she's
of,
lost her mind.
It was an actual thing. She was like reading off a piece of paper.
Literally holding up a piece of paper for her to read off of a script while she was screaming about how much she hates Trump. And Hayley Williams recently appeared on The Tonight Show to debut a new song off of her album that she released as a solo project. It's called Ego Death at the Bachelorette Party. Which is...
First of all, what in the Kurt Cobain is this shit?
She's literally cosplaying as Kurt Cobain on stage, as you can see. And this song that she is performing is called True Believer. She is getting tons of praise for performing this because of its lyrics. This is an ode to her hometown of Nashville. But in reality, it's actually just sort of an anthem about how much she hates Southerners and
Bro, look at that
how racist they are.
Look at that upside down cross.
Yeah.
She's
so freaking edgy.
Oh
like, upside down cross in 2025. Like, we're literally so scandalized and offended by this. Like, I'm triggered. I can't. So here were the lyrics. She says, tourists stumble down Broadway. Cumberland keeps claiming bodies. All our best memories were bought and then turned into apartments. The club with all the hardcore shows, now just a grayscale dominoes. The churches overflow each Sunday, greedy Sunday morning. She is complaining about the gentrification of Nashville. And she's also throwing shade at mega churches in the South. Gift shop in the lobby, act like God ain't watching, kill the soul, turn a profit, what lives on Southern Gotham. And she says about Nashville, I'm the one who still loves your ghost. She says she loves the ghost of this city that she used to love.
So fucking deep.
Because I'm a true believer. They put up chain link fences underneath the biggest bridges. This is her lamenting the anti-homeless architecture so that they can't camp out under the bridges. They put up hostile architecture to prevent people from camping out there.
You thought brutalism was bad.
This line actually throws shade at Lauren Boebert from her photo of her family at Christmas.
Is it reference Beetlejuice?
They pose in Christmas cards with guns as big as all their children. They say that Jesus is the way, but then they gave him a white face so they don't have to pray to someone they deem lesser than them.
See, she's not far enough down the rabbit hole into having the whole discussion about, being a Jew and, God, Jesus being a Jew. Once she gets down that rabbit hole, then she can come back and talk, right?
I just think that's so intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
Like, every culture has depicted Jesus as being from its own, like, ethnic group. Literally every culture has done that. But it's only wrong when white people do it, apparently.
Well, I mean, how that one really got mimetic for people is the one of the drawing of the Egyptian pharaoh.
Yeah.
That's the one when people think of a guy, they're like...
but Cleopatra was black, right?
Exactly.
In the pre-chorus, she sings, the South will not rise again till it's paid for every sin. Strange fruit, hard bargain, till the roots, Southern Gotham. And the comments
how do they pay
are
for
glazing the hell out of Hayley Williams for this song.
How do they pay for every sin? Didn't they pay in blood with the Civil War? Like, isn't that the whole point? And this is the point. You know what's sad is it's very easy to point out why it is that nonprofits are shady, because for a nonprofit to truly do its job, it should want to put itself out of business, which they never do. The whole point of a nonprofit is to bring attention and get rid of something that they need to exist. And that's kind of true of activism as well. The goalpost has to continuously shift, because if they were to actually solve the problems that they're preaching about, and they never will. And this is going to happen. I mean, this is true of politics for everyone, right? Like, preach whatever you want, but you're never going to actually solve the problem because it's not profitable or beneficial to you to solve the problem.
Well, this is, of course, a profit-driven venture for Hayley Williams on her solo artist arc. She's self-flagellating, and she's like, I'm such a self-hating whitey. Please deem me an acceptable ally. Here were some of the comments glazing her. Performing a song against evangelical white supremacy in America at a self-proclaimed apolitical white man's show. No one's doing it like Hayley effing Williams.
Who was the apolitical white man?
Jimmy Fallon.
Oh.
Yeah, because Jimmy Fallon is apolitical.
I mean, more so
than Jimmy Kimmel, but
Colbert.
come on now. And another comment said, this is from Biggest Diggus. I've watched this several times since yesterday. I'm a 52-year-old white Englishman. I tear up every time I watch it. Here is an artist at the peak of her powers. I love it when a mainstream artist actually has something to say. This is art and politics and beauty and anger and sadness. It's mesmerizing. So that's the tone of the comments. They're interpreting this song. And she actually recently went on the New York Times Popcast. This is their podcast dedicated to pop culture with John Caramanica. And she talked about this song and what it means, why she is calling attention to racial tensions in the South. She said, I'm never not ready to scream at the top of my lungs about racial issues. I don't know why that became the thing that gets me the most angry. I think it's because it's so intersectional that it overlaps with everything from climate change to LGBTQIA plus issues. She also talked about her song on this album called Discovery Channel, which samples Bloodhound Gang's classic The Bad Touch.
No!
That allowed her to further break down her experience with religion. And in case you weren't aware,
taking a masterpiece like Bad Touch and ruining it with your bullshit activism should be a crime.
When Hayley Williams and Paramore, to put it more succinctly, was rising to fame, they were an outspoken Christian band. And yeah, their songs weren't very explicitly Christian, or they weren't worship music, but they were outspoken about being Christians. And since then, she's pretty much stopped talking about her Christian faith. And here's what she has to say about it now, referencing this song. While I was deconstructing my faith and my religious upbringing from around the age of 19, I really didn't realize how much of Paramore for me was a religious experience, a God pillar in my life. For Williams, Paramore, she says, is now the backdrop to every conversation. So songs like Discovery Channel are really me roaming the halls of whatever that structure is and trying to take it apart more.
Is Discovery Channel the one that samples the
Yes.
So they literally take the lyric from the song, "You and Me."
Yeah.
Straight to
Actually,
jail.
I've said this before, but I had a course on, I think this was maybe in my bioethics course or maybe my moral theology course in high school. My teacher opened up the first day of class by saying, like, we ain't nothing but mammals. He literally said it in the most, like, deadpan way possible. We ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like we do it on the Discovery Channel.
That man deserves a raise.
And we were just sitting there like, and he was like, no, listen closely. We ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do it on the Discovery Channel. Now let's literally think about what that means. And that's how he like went into the conversation about Catholic teaching on sexuality.
I've changed my mind. I want Bloodhound. I want them to do the halftime show.
And in another song on this album, the self-titled track, Ego Death at the Bachelorette Party, she has this line that gained a lot of attention. She said, "I'll be the biggest star at this racist country singer's bar." And she admitted
because Morgan Wallen owns
that
a bar.
This was directed at Morgan Wallen, who has a bar in Nashville. She says she hates that celebrity singers own bars in Nashville. And she said, "I'm always talking about Morgan Wallen. I don't give a shit. Find me at Whole Foods, bitch. I don't care. I just don't care." Mic drop. Hayley Williams, you are such a badass for that. Oh my gosh. Like, you should do like a singing duel with Morgan Wallen.
Is there like and then somebody was like, I remember somebody saying like she ended him, and then they just put like his monthly Spotify listeners next to hers. And, yeah. Sorry, but he's gonna stay.
I just can't get over like the stupidity of Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party for like
Sounds
the name
like a Taylor
of your
Swift
album.
song.
It also reminds me of the Panic at the Disco album, like Death of a Bachelor. Like pretty derivative there. I don't know, like stick to what you're good at. You know, it's a shame. I said it. It's a shame because she's talented and she unfortunately just slid down the rabbit hole over the years and has completely lost her mind. Like it's just a sad thing to see.
It's weird too, because I feel like people in the space, like you're part of an industry where theoretically, now I know music is a little bit different, because music, it feels like if you want to be attached in the pop music scene now, some type of lame slacktivism is like a requirement. But you know, you could be part of an industry theoretically where you could just play music and it doesn't have to do anything. It doesn't have to have anything to do with that. Whereas I feel like there's a lot of people in the political space that seem to want to do stuff other than politics and would love to be in an area that isn't so controversial, but they can't help themselves. And the musicians have to trail into politics and social issues.
Well, speaking of which, I just sent you the link to that infamous video of Hayley Williams' tirade against Trump, where she's got this production assistant off to the side holding up her script for her.
You're like, hold on.
Now they're implying that this was provided by the DNC. That's not proven, but here's what the script said.
I don't want to get copyrighted by the music. Hold on.
People of color, the LGBTQ+ community. It is time for all Americans.
It's time for all Americans
To band together and to finally defeat.
To band together and to finally defeat
The Trump agenda.
the Trump agenda. I'm guessing that's Project 2025.
The only way to do that is by confronting him at the polls.
At the polls.
Do you want to live in a dictatorship? Well, show up and vote!
Shut up and vote!
You know, it reminds me of, like, you won't remember this, but
Sad.
they've become as, like, weirdly irrelevant as, like, back in the early 2000s, they had the Democrats had rock the vote, and Republicans unfortunately had redeem the vote, which was like the Christian conservative version of that campaign. And let's just face it, the rock the vote one just kind of hit a little bit harder with the youth there. But I don't think that that's going to work these days.
Unfortunately, I think that this happened to Hayley Williams because of her divorce, which sounds like a bit of a reach. Like, it sounds like I'm kind of armchairing right now. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think she would have turned out this brain rotted had it been for, you know, maybe a stable relationship with a man that she loves.
Well, I mean, you know, if your life is busy and your life has meaning, then you don't have to worry about these things 24/7. Like if you've got better, literally it's almost as simple as like if you've got better things to do, you don't
well
have
she's been consistently working this whole time. I just think that the problem here is that the divorce really effed her up mentally. Yeah. And she had to use leftist political virtue signaling to like cope with it in a weird way. Mm-hmm. That's just my psychoanalytic take
on
why this happened to her.
Bloodhound Gang on the way home.
Baby, we ain't nothing but mammals.
If you guys haven't,
let's do it like they do it on the Discovery Channel.
If you haven't listened to the music video to that song or watched the music video to that song, I highly recommend it. It's a cultural experience if ever there was one. Mm-hmm. That was horrible. Let's go to Super Chats.
Easy-E said, dressing up like a gay clown to take back the label of gay people being clowns isn't a W. You just made the association public-facing. Nice job. Well, I just don't believe that, like, a woman born in 1997 or whatever, like, experienced some horrible, like, homophobia, like, violent homophobia from her similar-aged peers in high school. Like, I just don't buy that. At a public high school anywhere in this country?
Like if you want to, like, another point to my point earlier, which is like, if you want to know how you got to an entire culture of people like me who are like, what did Zach Bryan say earlier? It was like, I'm libertarian, like I don't care and I don't support one way or the other. It's literally from like shows and movies from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s where there's a gay character and everyone's like, yeah, I don't care. Literally, that's what it is. It's not showing bigoted characters. It's not pushing back with clown makeup. It's just a normal character being like, yeah, whatever. It's your business. That's how we got to the point we're at right now, where, you know, I'm sure the people here would be horrified, but more people like me who just don't care because the media told them they shouldn't care. Now they're telling you have to care and you have to advocate on behalf of somebody that you don't even know.
Well, they just couldn't help themselves because once being gay in and of itself wasn't viewed as transgressive culturally anymore, they had to push it further and further and further. And that kind of reveals what the intention behind the, you know, gay agenda was all along. It wasn't about being normal and being treated like everyone else. You have to keep upping the ante. You have to keep moving the goalpost. because the point of it is transgression for transgression's sake. So when it's, you know, theoretically just about what we do privately in our own bedrooms, like that was never an intellectually honest argument. That was never the case. Slippery slope is not a fallacy. Shane H. Wilder said, growing up in West Texas, I never had any friends who were illegal. I had Mexican friends who were citizens and they hated illegals. Interesting. How do you know? You talked about it?
Just like one day, they're like, by the way,
they hated
I fucking
illegals.
hate those
Wow.
guys.
Shane H. Wilder said, reset the house counter. Damn, 2 in one day.
It was more than that.
And Blight Bulb said, reset the NCIS counter. We've got the trifecta.
Yeah.
Is that the trifecta? NCIS, house, and person of interest?
Yeah.
Or is there anything else in there?
There's more. Those are the main ones, though.
Yeah. Not that Jon Stewart said Brett like hockey, so it's a hat trick.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess if all 3 of them are, that's when a player scores 3 goals in one game. That's a hat trick.
Okay. Adam said The Witcher would have been great if they just followed Henry around hunting monsters.
Okay.
I have not watched the new season of The Witcher, so I can't comment.
I thought was it out yet? I thought it was just the trailer. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, right. It was coming out.
Mm.
Comes out in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
So Skillet is like the biggest Christian artist right now, or
Really?
is that so? I think I saw something
Currently?
So I was
Because
looking.
I would have assumed that it would be like Forrest Frank.
Is that the guy who sings that one song that's like that one's super viral this year?
Lemonade, I believe.
Broody Gambit says, I liked Tron Ares, but I feel like it was a great sci-fi movie that Disney felt the need to shoehorn into Tron IP because they didn't trust an original idea. Interesting. Grunmeister says, Jared Leto would have been a great Joker, but the writers and whoever else was responsible for the final cut of the original Suicide Squad movie are responsible. Morbius wasn't terrible, but not good.
I stand by my like half-hearted defense of Jared Leto's Joker, honestly, because I don't think that the concept of him being a gangster is like that bad of an idea.
Yeah.
But they didn't give him the screen time to kind of flesh that out. And they gave him a total of like, what, 10 minutes?
Kind of hard when he's jumping into a vat of acid while Kalani plays in the background to take him seriously.
Wasn't that scene also cut from the movie at the end?
I mean,
they left like a short snippet of it, but not the full scene. It was just in a montage.
I mean, half that movie was montages because it got re-edited like 4 times by like it was like a trailer editing company ended up having final cut on that movie or something like that.
So it was just a 2-hour-long trailer.
I mean, that goes hard for me, but like for normal people that doesn't work. Broody Gambit says the 9 Inch Nails music in Tron Ares felt to me like a game of name that tune. It might have been the vibe they were going for, but I could only say they sampled Welcome to the Jungle for this so many times. And then I saw one more here. Yeah, Grunmeister says, I'd argue the biggest Christian artist right now is Skillet. You can make an argument that Jelly Roll is kind of Christian country rap, but Skillet is a pretty big name in Christian music. So.
There's also that guy, Alex Warren, but maybe
Is
he
he-
just makes secular music that sounds a lot like worship music, and I'm getting it confused.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that song, Ordinary. Oh my gosh. The
Grun-
whole thing, I thought it was a worship song.
Mm.
The entire point of the song is that he's like worshiping his wife.
No.
It's not about God. It's literally about worshiping his wife. It's the lamest shit ever.
Bros in the Longhouse.
Literally.
Grunmeister says, is there something wrong with Skillet? I thought you two would have had a little more love for Skillet. I'm not.
I don't listen to
I'm not
Skillet.
religious, so.
Well, I'm religious and I don't listen to Skillet, so I don't know what to tell you. Shane H. Wilder said it's the quadfecta with Blue Bloods.
What is the quadfecta? Oh,
So
yeah,
NCIS, House, Person of Interest, and Blue Bloods.
Bro, I can go all day.
What else?
I don't know. Let's keep going.
Burn Notice, is that one?
Oh, I haven't mentioned that one in a while. I haven't watched that show in a while.
Yeah.
I'm watching Forever right now, which was this show from 2014 where this guy, it's basically Highlander. He's like 200 years old and he can't die. Every time he dies, he's reborn in the water. And it was actually really good. It should have gotten more than one season. I can never pronounce that actor's name. It's like Yoan, but it's spelled like Ioan. I think he's Welsh, which makes perfect sense.
Shane H. Wilder said Alice Cooper is conservative and a Trump voter.
Okay.
Who else was it?
Now somebody in the chat says Lightbulb says Skillet was great in like 2007. So what?
They could get Gene Simmons. Gene Simmons is a Trump supporter, very vocally so they could get him. Not that Jon Stewart said, guys, you can see Brett's soul leaving his body.
Yeah.
Very Halloween. Right.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, what is she talking about? I've seen Black Jesus and Asian Jesus. If anything, he would have had the skin tone of Jonathan Rumi, so white passing. Yeah, I mean, you can argue about that till you're blue in the face, like what did he actually look like? But ultimately, the point is you're supposed to identify him in his humanity, no matter what culture you're from. So understandably, every culture has depicted Jesus as someone of their own ethnic group. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the same for apparitions of Mary in different cultures. Like Our Lady of Akita, Mary appeared to Japanese people as a Japanese woman.
Okay.
And like, I don't know, is that like wrong? Like, obviously we know that like the real Mary wasn't Japanese, but that's not the point. Like, the point is that she's appearing to that group, that cultural group, as one of them in order to identify with them and be familiar to them.
People are arguing about the spelling of or the pronunciation of his name, this actor. So it's Ioan. It's in right here. It says his name is pronounced Ioan Griffith.
Ioan. Okay. What is that like?
It's just spelled weird. It's like Ioan. Like, who does that? It's like Siobhan. It's like Siobhan. Like it's but Shioban.
It's spelled with a B.
Like, who are you really? Like, ban
That's
this person.
Irish, right?
Right?
Yeah. I think B is pronounced like a V in Gaelic.
I saw somebody in the chat earlier, just to up here, mention the show The Glades. Props to you, my friend. That show is also awesome, made by Clifton Campbell, who's one of the great procedural producers of his time.
Grofty said Mary on fire. Thank you. I hope that's a metaphor. Shane H. Wilder said, quote, Alice Cooper's Shut Up and Rock. Don't want to hear about your politics. Hear about it every day. Or all the talk about what makes you tick. Don't care anyway. Just shut up and rock.
There you go.
Good point. Jacob Paradis said Skillet would be a great band to play at the Turning Point halftime show. They're Christian, have a huge following, and I don't think they have any shows until March. That's a possibility. Still probably would pale in comparison ratings-wise to Bad Bunny, but they could do that. I am really interested to see what they end up announcing. Greg Duvier said Skillet is played on regular rock radio stations. Even non-Christians listen to Skillet. Yeah, I bet most people wouldn't necessarily clock that it's a Christian band. Like, right
I know that because I thought he meant Skrillex.
Yeah, that wasn't a typo. They meant Skillet.
I was like, who the hell is Skillet?
Or like Limp Bizkit too. Aren't they a Christian band?
No, I don't think so.
Really? I could have sworn.
Maybe. I don't think so. I mean, with an album called Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water, I doubt it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Am I wrong? No. I see a lot of like articles asking if like Christians can listen to this or that.
Am I allowed to listen to this? Am I allowed to listen to the song Nookie if I'm Christian? Inquiring minds want to know.
They have a song that's like called Faith. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, that's like a play on the George Michael song.
It is?
I mean, it's like no, but it is.
No?
No, it's not technically.
Oh, okay. I think we're all caught up on the super chats here.
It's so funny. Somebody else in the chat said that they thought they were. Yeah, POD was. I watched like a 30-minute documentary on the band POD and that they were a Christian band and were outspoken but didn't make it their whole identity. But again, it was different in the early 2000s. It's not the same now.
Most
it's
of
like
the bands that identify
they have that
themselves
discussion
as...
around Evanescence as well. Like
Is Evanescence a Christian
Amy, what's her name? Amy, what's her last name? I forget her last name. But I think she identifies as a Christian, but the band is not a Christian band or something like that. Amy Lee, right?
Right.
Amy Lee. Like she's a Christian or was a Christian, but doesn't identify the band. It doesn't make the band Christian.
Let me see.
Annette says Post Malone should play the Super Bowl. I'm honestly surprised he's not.
Who? Post Malone?
Post Malone.
Yeah, that would have been a better choice. It says Amy Lee identifies as Christian. However, she emphasizes her faith is personal, not something she practices through organized religion. She described herself as not being a religious person and has never belonged to a church, but maintains her belief in Christianity. She has said that it influenced songs.
They have a song called Tourniquet that has like those words in it, like "My God, my tourniquet." I remember that song.
Interesting. Oh, interesting. So Evanescence's record label initially tried to market them as being part of the Christian rock genre, like in the 2000s when that was
still more
marketable.
Yeah.
And they wanted it to be similar to bands like Creed, but she resisted this, calling it a misunderstanding, and she fought against that marketing strategy.
Probably
we never
better
wanted
for
to be
them.
associated with it.
Probably better for them long term.
Interesting. No Control said, Mary, do you know what Limp Bizkit means? No. Do you want to explain, Brett?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Shane H. Wilder.
Not a fan of Christian rock, but I have become fond of the thirsting Catholic pop punk. They did an album, American Vespers, of pop punk renditions of Catholic hymns like Salve Regina. They're fun. I'll look into that. Interesting. Corey Anderson said LB's Faith was a cover of George Michael's Faith.
All I remember is like the heavy riff on the chorus of the Limp Bizkit version. That's what I remember most about it. Brian Bledsoe says those Paul Thomas Anderson movies that you named were nominated for Oscars, which is what he cares about, and the studio keeps giving him money for it. That is true.
Do we have any more super chats?
Greg Duvier says Limp Bizkit for the halftime show. That would be a funnier one.
Not going to happen in 2025.
No.
I thought the Rihanna halftime show wasn't bad. Like, conservatives were really up in arms about it for no reason.
Why was it satanic?
They said it was satanic. They did.
Was she wearing red?
Yeah, she was wearing red. That's literally why they said that.
I knew it.
She was also like 8 months pregnant when she was performing, which I found impressive in and of itself.
Probably Satan baby in there.
Right. It's a ritual. Corey Anderson said Greg is correct.
About the
halftime
I think it was the one before that. Yeah.
Yep. Grofty said buck the like button.
That's a good idea. You should do that. You should hit the like button.
Please do.
I don't push for the like button enough, but I should tell you guys to please go hit the like button. Yeah. I think there's one more here.
Lacey Sturm is Orthodox now. Wait, which band was she in? I'm confused. Flyleaf?
Oh, so she's not religious anymore.
No, they mean that she's an Orthodox Christian.
Oh, she's not. Okay, she is. So what was she before? Was she just like nominally?
I think she was like just like Protestant.
Okay.
Like evangelical Protestant. Corey Anderson said, we get 2 crisis parties. Does Mary come back?
Yes, it does. Mary will come back today. We even gave you guys a break.
I'm here. What do you mean?
We even gave you guys a break last week because I think there was one day last week we only got 1 crisis party and Mary still came back.
I don't think that's true. I think we got 2.
I think there was one day last week where we only got 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It happens.
I'm literally here. You don't need to worry about me coming back.
This
is my job.
It's because I threaten them every time you go out of town with the. I tell them you said it. I said Mary said she's not coming back unless we get 2 crisis parties.
It's not a threat. It's a promise.
It's a promise. I was like, look, you guys don't want to get stuck with me forever. I'd be just talking about old procedural television all day, and I know you guys don't want to hear that all day.
That.
One more there.
From Rabid Wino. Limp Bizkit, POD, Chevelle, and Korn would be pretty hype.
That would require us to live in the 90s.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Those
I don't think
times
they're
are
gonna,
over.
I don't think that you're ever going to get that again.
I hope that Turning Point can secure Creed.
That would be interesting, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Just because of the association?
Yeah.
They don't want to be associated with Turning Point, or for another reason?
I just don't think that they want to be involved in the culture war.
Yeah.
Like in that way.
But like, what do they have to lose also? Like, they make a huge paycheck, and they've already got it made anyway. Why not? It's a possibility. I'm going to hold on to hope.
I'm going to guess no, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think we're all caught up, though.
Okay.
Unless there are any others on Rumble.
No, we are going to get a third Crisis Party on Rumble. Dub says, like, damn, Brett really doesn't know religion. I didn't even take in what I was reading when I read Orthodox.
Well, either means that she's an Orthodox Christian or an Orthodox Jew.
Like,
but if there's not any elaboration, I'm going to assume Christian.
Yes. Okay. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already? Please and thank you. You want to shut the coffee out one more time? People should, they should see this stuff.
Look at this amazing packaging. I was stunned. I was actually stunned at like how well they did the printing. I'm seeing myself in high definition. I promise it's...
Who took the photo?
I did.
You did?
Well, it wasn't a photo, actually. So Jessica asked me to either send her a photo of me or just like record a video of myself, like
on your phone.
On my phone. And I just sat there in front of my phone like for 2 minutes going like doing different poses so that she could Photoshop me. And I love the result. And I don't think it's demonic at all, contrary to what a lot of people are saying. And you should head to castbrew.com to grab yourself a bag of Mary's Ghost Blend. It smells delicious. Like, I want a candle that smells like that.
Perfect.
Perfect for fall. And you guys should send me validation on Instagram. That is Mary Archived. Or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
All right. Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It's another great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at popculturecrisis, Instagram at popculturecrisisPod. Guys, we'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. There it is. See, they didn't see it coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. They thought they were going to get cheated out of that one. All right, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.